men should have more safe spaces to express their emotions because they don't have that. So what happens is it does a lot of times come out in anger, which is the emotional dysregulation, because they aren't taught how to process their feelings. They're taught how to suppress them. So I get his viewpoint and what he's saying by that, but I also know that emotions and feelings are two different things. So emotions are more like your raw data from the present state, and your feelings are attached to a story that you tell yourself about the past through your experiences. So that's two different things. And what happens is men come out and express themselves in anger due to something rooted in their childhood, maybe that they haven't been taught how to walk themselves through. So they are emotionally dysregulated, and the only emotion they can express is that anger instead of I'm feeling depressed and I'm feeling sad, or I feel anxiety. It all reverts back to whatever that emotion is rooted in, which is anger, right? When they are emotional as a child, the mother's telling them to be quiet, they don't have an outlet, and they get upset, right? And vice versa, they see the parent doing the same thing. When the parent is frustrated, they take it out on the child, and what do they usually do, right? Become combative or verbally abusive, and they take that behavior, they mirror it, and they use it in relationships, and they use it in school, and they use it with their partners, and they use it at work. So I think it's a cycle of people not being taught how to be emotionally intelligent, not necessarily for men, or to say that women are children, like, because I think women are taught to be more expressive and our voices are taught to be heard more. But I feel as though men and women are our children when they are in relationships and they are happy. That is what comes out, is the inner child, because you feel safe with each other. So, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Sweeney. You want to speak on this?
Um, I think it is inherently false to make the assumption that men are not taught to express themselves. So let me ask the fellas on the panel. When you cried in front of your father, if you was ever been around your or any man, right? They typically tell us not to cry, right?
Yes.
Outside
Not
of
Stop
Mr.
crying.
Lego. I know Mr. Lego is
They say
allowed to.
stop crying. They say like stop crying because like it's not. You know they'll break
So,
it down,
right.
but
So what is immediately followed behind that? When they tell us stop crying, what is the next thing that comes out their mouth?
come
Structure,
here, like come here, or like
a
let me
hug.
talk to you. Yeah, something. I don't
Use
know.
your words. That's always
True.
what I've been
Okay.
told.
My daddy didn't say that.
My dad used to be
Mhm.
like, or you know what I mean, hey, stop crying. Use your words. Now tell me what's up. We've always been taught to speak and express ourselves. And this is the problem that I have when people always tend to say, oh, they resort to, oh, men aren't allowed to cry, so therefore we can't be emotionally expressive. We've always been taught to be that. It's just that we always been told that crying doesn't necessarily get things done for men. And if you look out in society, men who tend to cry and bitch a lot things don't really, nobody comes out and saves that man when he's crying. Nobody comes out and does things for that man when he's crying. So, but however, what they do is men have always been able to express themselves. I've always been able to go to Mr. Lego and tell him, hey, bro, I don't like that you did XYZ to me. Or I can go to Daryl and be like, hey, man, we need to sit down and have a conversation because you may have did something, you know what I mean, or done me wrong or something like that. We've been taught how to express ourselves, but people always assume that because we weren't crying that we aren't expressing ourselves. So yes,
Yeah,
men are
I
most
think
definitely
I think
taught to express ourselves.
I think the conversation. I think Sierra would. I think correct me if I'm wrong. It's about the environment though. So like, however you express yourself in that environment. Again, to your point, it sounds like in your background, you had a father that was created a certain environment that showed you what expressing yourself actually looks like in action. You feel me? Like where you're expressing yourself, but again, to your point, it may not be crying or it may not be shooting whatever extremes or lows you want to go, but you have somebody that actually tell you and show you and be an example and create an environment. But the I think we talking about others who make like just the general population of men. Most of those environments, you're usually taught to keep your head down, keep working, work hard. You ain't got no time to express your emotions or whatever. You can't live there, and that is true though. Like that is something that's like I'm always respect the differences between male and female. Like that's just true for us because that's our position. That's what I strongly believe in my
Mhm.
position as a man in this world is I have to think that way. if I get caught up, like I have to have a perspective, like I have to be open and like have a certain level of wisdom and intellect to listen to the individuals that I'm supposed to be leading. Like you have to be able to be open, but at the same time, you have to. That's just how, I'm not going to ever say that a man is not supposed to live there, because I would say 80 to 90% of the time he has to live there, and that's going to be his life. And I think most women just have to understand that and start understanding how to provide that space, you know, for that man to show him outside of that, like be that space. Like those are the type of conversations that y'all should be having with us. And if y'all not providing that space, what we call peace, whatever peace looks like to each man, then it's gonna come out. Like it's gonna come out like that. Like everybody has a position. You know what I mean?
Daryl,
I just
Daryl, when you hooped, right? Because you was a hooper, right?
Yes.
Did your coach ever ask you how did you feel about a certain thing, or felt about a certain play, or you know what I
No.
mean? He never asked
No,
you
because
that?
you got to get to it. Like you have to get to it. Like we'll have a conversation maybe after, not necessarily my feelings. You'll ask me what's going on in my mind, like what you think about the game, or we going through
Yeah, that's what I
film.
mean. I don't
But
mean
like
like
in the
in the heat
moment,
of the moment. Yeah,
but
I
in the
don't.
heat of the moment, it's like nigga, take the fucking charge. Like don't be a bitch. Like
Yeah,
when you getting cussed out or you getting out of the game, like somebody else, we trying to win. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like man, we have to think like that way, right? We trying to win. If I'm with a shorty, if I'm getting with my wife at a certain point, I got kids, and I'm really taking this shit serious. Like I understand, but look, we gotta win. We gotta go. That's how we have to think as men. So when we start being in relationships, I think again it's up. And I think you said this in the last podcast. Let go. Niggas gotta like speak up. We gotta have this uncomfortable conversation. You gotta just tell her what it is up front. So they already understand this is the type of relationship that we are going to forge. We just fucking, we just doing this. This is how we moving. This is how I lead. I'm gonna put that up front before I even gotta spend no money or nothing. I'm gonna show you what type of nigga that I am, what type of man I am, so you understand what type of relationship we gonna forge. If men aren't talking like that, then a woman's not gonna even know what position or how to even be in, like what she even gonna do. So she gonna get frustrated, right? And if you don't know how to handle your emotions, but she frustrated, she's to Leco's point, she just gonna say whatever she want to say because she ain't got nothing. What is she looking up to? Where's her leadership? So at the end of the day, I think that's in my understanding, a man has to be 10 toes down on that side and get shit done. That's the mindset that he always gonna have to have. Like that's just normal shit.
Do y'all
That
know
shit.
why the main reason why women cry? They usually cry because they don't know how to articulate themselves, and what they're saying isn't getting them what they want. Like children, right? If you ask your mom, I want this, and you're not getting what you want, at some point, you're going to start whining to see if that'll work, to seek empathy from mom, right? And if that don't work, you're just going to start crying.
So you're saying, Mr. Lego, that women feel ignored, so they cry because they feel ignored? Because that's what you just gave a scenario of somebody coming to their mom and mom ignores them. You just said that.
I did not. I said when they don't get what they want. That doesn't mean.
What do they want? So why don't they get what they want? What do they want?
When a child wants something, just because they want it,
not a child, a grown woman. A grown woman. Why is she crying?
Like I said, when a child wants something,
not a child, a grown
woman, feeling entitled to it, therefore they start crying, and they can't figure out a way to get it. See, a man doesn't need to cry, because one, crying doesn't work for us regardless of what. So when we are in front of other people and we cry, we never get what we want. It works with y'all. It don't work with us.
Do you understand why the body does that?
Let me say this. So there's no actual reason for a man to cry in front of somebody like y'all, because it doesn't get what we want. And the second thing is, we know how to articulate ourselves and negotiate and get what we want. Women don't know how. Go ahead.
Okay, so you think that, you don't believe that shedding tears is a natural thing that your body is supposed to do. And then you also believe that you're supposed to do it in private. Why is that? Why is it a private?
Because
you're doing it in private.
Crying is a release to men and women, but women have an alternative reason for crying. It's a form of communication. If you started crying we'll literally stop, be like, oh, what's going on, Ali? Right? Because that is a declaration of something's wrong, and everybody receives that and will tend to you, right? If a woman is sitting on a bus crying, somebody attend to her. If a man is sitting on the bus crying, nobody's going to tend to him, because it's a woman's form of communication. A man crying in front of other people is not going to help him get anything that he wants. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
It
you
works
just
for
said
women.
that.
It
I would
doesn't
agree
work
with
for men.
You
that.
just said
I
that
would definitely
men-
agree with that though.
You just said that you know, men are not allowed to cry, or right?
I didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that. He basically said that like we use crying as in a different mechanism than women do.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
he
form of
said
communication with
he
women.
said
Hold on,
that women will cry.
Well,
hold on,
Smitty
y'all.
said,
Hold on. Let Daryl finish, y'all.
He's saying women will cry in a form of communication for in the help of need or whatever scenario he had
It
painted.
doesn't work with
A
us.
man, right? A man, they will see, and I you know, this is my own perspective. I'm not making it personal, but I think when you generalize it, to your point, he's saying that when men cry, we not crying to try to get something or like, no, we cry just to release it, and then we getting back to the same mindset. Like we gotta, you know, depending on what type of man you are, we're not crying to communicate to say, hey, like I need something, I need help. That's not.
your body
correct
is
me if I'm wrong.
communicating, because it is a release of oxytocin and endorphins when your
But
body.
do you understand
Yeah.
there's two
That's
purposes
beautiful
of
release.
crying to women, Ali?
We understand
There's
that.
only one there's two purposes of crying for women, one purpose for crying for men.
Right.
So you're
Crying
saying
is
women
communication
try
for
to
women.
manipulate? That's what you're saying?
It can
No,
be that.
no, it could.
No,
but that's
it could be that. It could be
Right.
manipulation, but it's communication. Regardless of
Yeah.
what, when a woman cries, things slow down and she gets more attention, and she can use that to manipulate, or she can get whatever she needs.
What she wants.
That does not work with us. That's all I'm saying.